Right, so as usual, let's make that render that we were making. Let's go back. This is the folder. Pew. There we go. Markers, PNG, render. And now we will see. Oh, and a chip, by the way. This chip. We will see or start seeing our progress. This is what we started off with. Then we had the props. We had some basic texturing, and now it's actually starting to look like this oasis-like map. But now the really important stuff comes in, and the important stuff being decals. This is where we're going to spend the majority of our time, and I'm likely going to speed up like 2 hours of work. But let's start talking about what they are. We have albedo and normals. Those are the usual candidates, and kind of what they do is they allow us to toy with the graphical aspects of the terrain to create effects that are not necessarily there. Just to give you a very simple example, say we have this here, and I'm gonna talk all about scaling it and everything and how the controls work, but now we created some detail there that was previously not there, and it kind of looks okay. And we can place all these decals here that are available to us and place them on the map to create all kinds of interesting effects. Now note that there are a lot of them, so it's not trivial to find the ones that are good because they're not all equally good. If this happens to you, make sure you go back to albedo, then to normals, and now it's a normals once you click. And this really allows you to create effects, terrain effects where there is none. Now note that these are just textures, so if you scale them up really large, it's just gonna look bad. So don't do that. Don't make them look bad. But we can use this to create fairly interesting and simple terrain additions. Even though this is pretty, I don't like this, to the terrain. But there's a lot of work to be done because we gotta go over which ones are useful, which ones are not, etc., etc. And then, as you can imagine, there's a lot of possibilities, and this is just one folder. But for a quick start, let's just approach this back area here just to show you what this means, how we can approach this. So there's all sorts of types of decals. I'm looking for these. These are cliff-like decals. No, not entirely what I was looking for. That's better. So we kind of want to add that one right in there. Then we want to place a new decal. Go back to albedo, to normals. That one's way too thick. Let's see what this one is. This one can work for snowy-like maps. And now you can see that we can really start advocating these tree lines a lot better. Right, because they just kind of fit in and we can scale it. So with E we can rotate, with R we can scale. And that's give or take all we have. But with that, we can really start accentuating what we have. Albedo, normals. This looks more like a snowy-like. See, this looks like a snow-like. Albedo, normals. And now I'd like some cliff, but then we need to go to maybe geothermal, see what's in there. Because we're dealing with snow, but geothermal is not too different from snow, in my humble opinion. This is like little snow hubs. But it's very, because of that thing there, it's very easy to spot that we're reusing it. So let's make that more difficult to spot. Let's see what these look like. So we're working on snow here, but this is absolutely not snowy-like. Let's look at what tundra has to offer us. Alright, alright. Ooh, these are interesting. So we can create these pathways. Even though this one is absolutely not visible. Just not worth the effort of placing, I think. Place decals? No. Maybe these are. Yeah, but this is very intense. That's better. So this would be a nice little decal where we could have these little rocks. But notice that it doesn't really fit the color pattern that we chose. So it's not that perfect. Little speckles. Oh, it's got snowy bits in them. This is essentially what's used for winter. That winter map. Look, here we can. So we were working on this little corner here. With this, we can create more. Interesting dirt, but let's see. It's not really what I was looking for. Go to swamp. Maybe there's something in there. Here we have, this looks more snowish, but it's still very harsh. But maybe we can kind of cheat this. Across this ridge here, just like that. And then do another cheat. Using this one across this ridge right here. And then there too. Let's try this one here again. There we go. And by doing this, we can really make the map stand out. Right, we can make it look a lot more interesting. I'm not a huge fan of this. Note that if you you can always take another decal and then try and hide the decals that you don't like. So for example, in common, we have the snow. We're working on snow, so we need something with soft edges like that. That's too soft again. I really like these. It's too soft. Yeah. Oh. Alright. Albedo normals. Now it's very easy to overdo this so that you end up with 2000 decals on a map. That's absolutely not what you should do. We should have at most maybe 300 decals on this map, because every decal that you add makes it more difficult to render for your users, people playing your map, and that's not very nice. But that's it as a short introduction for decals. So just to repeat again, E is rotating. If you placing the decal, then click on something, then E is rotating and R is scaling. And similarly, if you are not placing decals, you can select them, you can translate them. W is translation, E is rotation, the red axis doesn't work sadly, and then we have scaling. But typically you want to scale uniformly. And then we can turn what we previously had, which was this, into this, which adds a lot more depth to this middle area that now looks flat and now it doesn't. All right, that's it, gonna be this short introduction to decals.